$7.50 seat and a $10 seat, but you're sure welcome to.
Oh, I'm in. There you go.
That other one's
Good. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the presidential investiture and the 159th commencement of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. As we convene this event, I ask that you please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the ROTC Color Guard. Color Guard, please present the colors.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. President Wharton, Dr. Fossey Wharton, members of the Board of Regents, esteemed faculty, honored guests, and graduates. In addition to today's commencement service, I would like to welcome you all to the investiture of Robert A. Wharton, PhD, as the 18th President of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. This is a great and special day for the university, a day when we all come together to celebrate a new chapter for this wonderful institution. The South Dakota School of Mines and Technology family thanks you all for joining us to share our hopes, our pride, and our joy. We are joined today by several special guests who support and exemplify our mission. It is my pleasure to introduce our first guest, past president of Mesa State College, Dr. Michael Gallagher. Dr. Gallagher has also served as president at the University of Houston-Victoria and interim president of Idaho State University. He is the author of 2 books and more than 50 articles and scholarly publications in management and finance, has served on local, regional, and national governing boards, and has held office in a number of professional, academic, and civic organizations. Please welcome Dr. Gallagher.
Good morning. Today I've been asked to share with you advice for your new leader from a former president. Since Bob and I worked together, the following 5 points are really just reminders, as he already knows them quite well. Congratulations, President Gordon. The good news is that as a result of a very comprehensive and difficult process, you've been selected from a list of exceptional candidates to lead the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. The bad news is that in stark contrast to most newly appointed CEOs in American business, you neither come from within this organization, nor have you been specifically groomed by your predecessor. Since these are the same traits that about 75% of all the presidents appointed in higher education last year share with you, my first piece of advice is to honor your predecessors. Be sensitive to the importance of knowing this institution's history, its programs, and understanding its unique culture, professional staff, and faculty. Rather than focusing on similarities between this institution and your previous ones, look at its culture, structural differences, traditions on campus, and the expectations that you've inherited, because they will strongly influence what you can realistically accomplish during your time here. Oh, and by the way, Bob, drop Idaho State University out of your vocabulary, because nobody wants to hear about how I was done where you came from. Second, don't talk about, that was a Freudian slip. Don't take your word for granted. Also, don't talk about them. Recognize that this relationship with the board and the president is very crucial. In fact, it's probably surpassed only by the very delicate relationship between teacher and student. Neither the board nor the president should ever take each other by surprise, especially not in public, and particularly not in the newspaper. Get to know members individually. Communicate regularly with the board chair. Officially, they set policy and you work for them. But ideally, your board should also provide you with friendship, act as a sounding board, and wise counsel. Third, never forget the university exists for students in the diverse pursuit of learning. Most faculty, staff, and students see the administration as neither creative nor intellectual. Although they may appreciate the need for sound management, it's not the reason they're here. We all clearly understand the need for sound management and financial responsibility. It's necessary and it's crucial. But always allow your philosophy and passion to serve others to balance that tendency to try to quantify everything and to look at everything in terms of money. Fourth, don't take charge of everything. Problems are going to automatically flow to your office. Don't indulge your need to demonstrate that you're in charge, that you're decisive, that you're the boss. Because if you originate all the solutions, everyone's going to defer to you and then sit in judgment of you. That's not only very limiting, but it's also not the way it should be. The president should judge, support, and extend the worthy proposals of others in the institution. Simply stated, don't try and be Mr. Fix-It. Also, don't expect your efforts to necessarily be appreciated. You will not be loved by everyone. You may not, or you may even be criticized. But to sustain yourself, you must know, as I do, that you're a decent person who is striving to do what needs to be done. Your friends and a loving family will help you in this, so don't neglect them. Fifth, keep a sense of humor. As difficult as this job may be, you're not performing brain surgery. As a result, therefore, most of your mistakes are not going to result in immediate death. So don't take yourself too seriously. Make the work experience enjoyable when possible. And finally, for perspective, let me remind you of the old story of a very wealthy man who called his servant in and told him he was leaving the country for a year, and that while he was gone, he wanted the servant to build him a new house. The master told him to build it well, and that when he returned, he would pay all the bills for the servant's labor and materials. Well, during the master's year-long absence, the servant decided that he was really foolish to work so hard. So he started cutting corners and squandering the savings. When the master came back and paid all the bills, he then asked the servant if he was satisfied with the house. The servant said he was. The master said, "Good, because the house is a gift to you. You can live in it the rest of your life." Therefore, Mr. President, like others responsible for the success of this organizational house, you must continually ask yourself, 1, am I providing appropriate levels of support and encouragement? 2, am I developing an environment of trust that avoids that corner cutting and careless spending? Am I providing a focus for people on those goals and activities truly worthy of their best efforts? Or as the story goes, your task, Mr. President, is to lead and motivate people to continue building and maintaining the kind of house that you and they would be happy living in the rest of your life. Good luck, Bob, both to you and all this year's graduates. May South Dakota's Black Hills caress you. May her lakes and rivers bless you. May the luck of the Irish enfold you. May the blessings of God behold you.
What excellent advice. Thank you very much, Dr. Gallagher. The South Dakota School of Mines and Technology operates under the authority of the South Dakota Board of Regents. Joining us today to perform the installation ceremony is Mr. Terry Balloon, President of the Board of Regents. Please welcome Regent Balloon.
Thank you, Dr. Whitehead. Dr. Gallagher, great job. You set the great direction. The students paid you well. They said make good comments and make them brief. And students, you set the stage for the rest of us there, okay? Now, remember, to get those degrees conferred by Dr. Morton, we have to go through what we're doing here right now, okay? So don't be throwing anything at me, all right? Thank you for all being here. We get to celebrate 2 events today, the investiture and the commencement. Let me just very briefly give you a little history about this great institution. The South Dakota School of Mines and Technology has installed 17 presidents before today. Those presidents painted a colorful history that covers the past 124 years. This university, Bob, has been led by a frontier doctor, a paleontologist, patriots who offered the campus to the nation's war effort, men with vision who built the infrastructure we have today, the father of 1,000 boys, and others who share the drive and desire to make the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology the best university it could be. 2 of those esteemed gentlemen have joined us today. Dr. Richard Schlauchner, who served as president from 1975 to 1986, and Dr. Richard Gowan, who served as president from 1986 to 2003. Would you please stand and allow us to recognize you? Thank you. Today, we welcome to this distinguished company a leader of similar qualities. I now call on Dr. Robert A. Wharton to step forward. I'm going to have Dr. Perry assist me. Now, this is that awkward piece where Dr. Wharton has to stand, and we all look at him while I say good things about the school, the position, and him. The good news is we don't have to worry about if our hair is messed up. Okay, we got that taken care of, all right? Dr. Wharton, the South Dakota Board of Regents have chosen you as president of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Yours will be the great privilege and responsibility of leading this institution to the further fulfillment of its great promise for years to come. In 1885, when Gilbert E. Bailey spoke at the dedication of what would become the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, he called the brand new institution a child of the territory that would become a lusty giant and enrich the world of science. The School of Mines was established to serve the growing needs of the mining industry, led principally by Home State. Nearly 125 years later, the university continues to reach past the potential Bailey predicted, while it continues to reach the potential in connection with the mining industry and Home State through the establishment of the deep underground science and engineering laboratory at Home State. Throughout its history, the university leadership guided the progress and created the path it follows today. We trust that the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology will remain in good, steady hands under your leadership. And now, by the virtue of the authority of the state of South Dakota and the Board of Regents, I commit to you the great seal of the university, the symbol of the high office that you now hold. This medallion and the university seal inscribed upon it symbolizes the principle and disciplines that the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology has held dear since 1885. It is symbolic of the trust of the true essence of this university, the strength of its people, and the power of its convictions. This medallion is to be worn on all academic occasions and passed on to your successors. Dr. Perry, would you please present the medallion to Dr. Wharton? Thank you, Dr. Perry. We also present to you the mission of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, which reads, I gotta find that mission. Oh, Julia, so well organized. Okay? Present this to you. The South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, this is its mission, which reads, serves the people of the state of South Dakota as their technological university. Its mission is to provide a well-rounded education that prepares students for leadership roles in engineering and science. Number 2, advance the state of knowledge and application of this knowledge to research and scholarship. And number 3, benefit the state, region, and nation through collaborative efforts in education and economic development. On behalf of the South Dakota Board of Regents and the people of South Dakota, I welcome you as the 18th President of South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. I assure you of our confidence in you and pledge our support as you strive to continue the greatness that is this university's destiny. I now present to you, distinguished guests, students, faculty, staff, and friends of the university, the 18th President of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, Dr. Robert A. Worden.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please have a seat. Regent Balloon, I accept your charge with both humility for this great responsibility and enthusiasm for the challenges and opportunities ahead. To this assignment, I commit the full measure of my talent and energy. Regents Balloon and Satchel, Executive Director Perry, former Mines Presidents Schleusner and Gowan, distinguished guests, South Dakota School of Mines and Technology faculty, staff, students, alumni, including our 50-year graduates, parents, community members, friends, and family. It is a great honor and pride that I stand before you today as we celebrate this historic moment for our exceptional university. As you know, rather than holding a separate inaugural event, I urge combining my investiture with this year's commencement, but in a manner that would not detract from its main purpose, to recognize and celebrate the awarding of degrees to these excellent students before us today. You and the students who will follow you are the reason I actually chose to come to the School of Mines. We are all proud of the School of Mines and its remarkable accomplishments over its 124-year history. The contributions of its dedicated, highly motivated, and innovative faculty are legendary, as is the stalwart, visionary leadership of its presidents. The 125th anniversary of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology in 2010 is on the horizon. As we approach this significant historic event, we can take pride in knowing that one of Mines' best traditions is that it is and has been a great institution. In the parlance of Jim Collins in Good to Great, a great organization is one that delivers superior performance and makes a distinctive impact over a long period of time. At Mines, we clearly deliver on our mission. We provide a world-class education for our students, an education that prepares them for leadership roles in engineering and science in South Dakota, nationally and internationally. Our highly successful efforts in teaching, research, and service benefit Rapid City, the Black Hills, South Dakota, the United States, and the planet through collaborative efforts in education and economic development. At Mines, we clearly make a distinctive impact and have done so for over a century. Simply put, Mines achieves great results. Thanks to many of you here today, some of our positive results include engaged and successful learning environment for our wonderfully bright, talented, and dedicated students, building on our tradition of excellence in undergraduate and graduate education. Another great result is our ability to attract and retain a stellar faculty, directly impacting our students' career placement and future career success, while serving the needs of industry, academia, and the global society. This, of course, is achieved through dynamic partnerships with industry and government agencies, contributing to our students' internships and co-op experiences, many of these in South Dakota. Our vision is to be recognized as a premier technological university in the United States. As president, I will work with all stakeholders to continue our tradition of greatness at Mines for years to come. To do so, it is critical to enhance our prospects for sustainability by increasing our enrollment from throughout South Dakota, the United States, and the world, with careful attention to increasing our recruitment of women and underrepresented groups. Today, our student body stands at just over 2,000 students. In the next 5 years, I have challenged the institution to raise that number to 2,500. With this increased enrollment, we will ensure our financial health and have the discretionary income to pursue emerging and as yet unforeseen opportunities. This strategic goal, as many of you know and have already heard, is my #1 priority for the school. From the beginning, the School of Mines was envisioned as a research university, as well as an exemplary teaching institution. Early on, the campus faculty conducted ore assays for the vibrant mining industry in the region. Over time, the school led in the development of best practices for the mining industry and branched out into metallurgical, chemical, and mechanical engineering. Today, the school has broad-ranging expertise and leadership in many areas of engineering, including chemical and biological, civil and environmental, electrical and computer, geological, industrial, materials and metallurgical, mechanical, and mining, as well as atmospheric sciences, chemistry, geology, mathematics, and computer science, and physics. Our graduate programs continue to expand, and today, Mines offers 15 master's degrees and 6 PhD programs, from atmospheric sciences to nanoscience and engineering, to mechanical engineering, to chemical and biological engineering, to construction management, to physics, to robotics and intelligent autonomous systems, among others. Our research opportunities are expanding for both undergraduate and graduate students under the superior guidance and support of our excellent and dedicated faculty, who are growing the research enterprise with great success. For the future, I envision our leadership of the Deep Underground Science and Engineering Laboratory, the DUSL, developing into a golden research collaboration for all involved, and bringing our students and faculty in contact with world-renowned scientists and researchers in many disciplines. As a national laboratory funded by the National Science Foundation and likely the Department of Energy, the DUSL, in my estimation, represents one of the most exciting opportunities the School of Mines has encountered since its inception. Not only will Mines benefit from this endeavor through expanded and enhanced research opportunities and projects for faculty and students, so too will Rapid City, the Black Hills, South Dakota, and the world. For example, Respect Corporation, created by School of Mines alumni, was recently awarded one of the first contracts for geotechnical work at the DUSL. It is easy to project a substantial economic impact from the DUSL activity on our local economy, particularly through the requisite excavation of the caverns needed to house the laboratories and detectors, construction projects required to build the facilities at DUSL, and the long-term operations of this expensive facility. In the years to come, the School of Mines will play a crucial role in the research and development of energy sources, including alternative energy. Today, we have 2 new centers on campus focused on bioenergy and bioprocessing. In the near future, I'm excited to report that you will see wind turbines and solar arrays on Smelter Hill above O'Hara Stadium. These will provide incredible educational opportunities for our students, as well as research platforms for our faculty. The School of Mines has remarkable expertise in advanced manufacturing processing and the development of composites. Recently, the school was awarded funding from the state of South Dakota to develop a research and development center that focuses on the repair, refurbish, and return to service of military equipment. The R3S Center, as it is called, will bring Mines faculty and students together with collaborators from other industries, as well as universities, to partner on this incredible project. The economic development opportunities from the R3S are potentially huge. This center will be one to watch. Today, the School of Mines has received approximately $15 million in research awards, up from $10 million a year ago. My goal for the institution over the next 5 years is to raise that amount to $25 million annually. These additional revenues will further enhance the opportunities for faculty and students to engage in the research enterprise. These funds will, in many cases, help serve to leverage the continued development of businesses in our region, and as well as serving to keep more of our talented graduates here in Rapid City and in South Dakota. I would also like to announce today that the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology has created the Mines Medal Award. The Mines Medal has been established by the School of Mines to recognize and honor national and international leaders in engineering and science. The Mines Medal will consist of a medal including an ounce of gold designed by the School of Mines and a privately funded cash honorarium. Award ceremonies will be held in Rapid City and Sioux Falls this October. All of these activities, and there are many I haven't mentioned, will serve to ensure that the School of Mines maintains a robust and growing research enterprise that supports local and South Dakota economic development in the decades to come. Since its founding, the School of Mines has experienced a sustained evolution on campus. From the first three-story old prep building, as it was called, to the metallurgy building completed in 1888, to the campus we occupy today, change has been a constant. That evolution continues today with a new paleontology laboratory under construction and a new chemical and biological engineering chemistry building, which we are soon to break ground on. Also, 2 dormitories, Palmerton and Connolly, will be renovated this summer, and the renovation of our student union, the Surbeck Center, is currently under progress, as I'm sure you know. As part of my vision for the School of Mines, I see a continuation of improving the overall appearance of our fine campus and a bold expansion of our footprint to the west towards Rapid City. The area west of campus will see a rejuvenation, including office and laboratory space for research and development partnerships and collaborations, other businesses associated with the school, as well as additional student and university facilities. In our future, I also see the development of a field house and an event center to better serve our campus, community, and regional needs. As your new president, I am fully dedicated to ensuring that the School of Mines blossoms as a leader in 21st century education, reflecting a strong commitment to the critical role of engineers and scientists to the advancement of society and the sustainability of our planet. Indeed, I wholly embrace our vision to be recognized as a premier technological university in the United States and internationally. As one of our most distinguished faculty members has said, we are a diamond in the rough. Industry leaders and many other universities know full well the value of the gem we are now. Our task is to more expansively and vigorously proclaim our successes and achievements. Community supporters, we know you realize how truly fortunate you are to have mines here in Rapid City, just as your ancestors here did, who fought politically for establishing our university. So I would ask your assistance in first telling friends and prospective students in our community and throughout the world about the greatness of mines. And second, continuing to give generously so that we have the resources for educational growth, including new programs and research opportunities to provide our students the finest educational experience on the planet. Together, we will create transformational opportunities for our students and continue our tradition of greatness for centuries to come. I would like to thank all of you today for your encouragement and support. Over these past 11 months, my respect for the School of Mines and the community has deepened enormously. Dr. Mike Gallagher, your words of wisdom are most appreciated. I give a special thank you to my presidential predecessors for helping pave the way. My family has been incredibly supportive to me throughout my career. I am blessed to have my sister Mary, brother-in-law Dr. Thomas Oliver, and my son Matthew here today. Thank you for all of your support. There is one very special person I would like to acknowledge and thank, and that is Dr. Carolyn Rose Fossey-Wharton, my exceptionally wonderful partner and spouse. Carolyn, I want you to know how deeply grateful I am to you for all of your support, kindness, and love these many years. Through numerous cross-country household moves and the many long days and nights supporting my career, you have been a steadfast partner. I truly owe much of my success to you. The School of Mines and I are incredibly fortunate to have you as our First Lady. Je t'aime, mon chéri. Finally, thank you to all of the exceptional students and the award-winning faculty and staff at the School of Mines. Each of you help to make every day a wonderful adventure. Together, let's invent tomorrow and fulfill our vision. The French novelist Marcel Proust wrote, "The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new lands, but in having new eyes." As your president, it is my intention to help all of us develop new eyes. As together, we will discover the golden opportunities and bold new adventures that lie ahead for the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, the Black Hills region, and the state of South Dakota. God bless all of you, and now let's enjoy our 159th commencement.
Will those in the academic processional please rise? I now officially call to a close the investiture ceremony of President Robert A. Wharton, 18th President of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Please join me in a warm round of applause for President Wharton and best wishes for the next chapter in the history of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Thank you. Congratulations for all that you have already accomplished for us.
Thank you very much. As today was a new beginning for both myself and the university as we complete the transition of leadership, so it is for today's graduates. We are gathered here today to recognize those who are about to join the proud alumni of this university. We will award diplomas to graduates of our associates, baccalaureate, master's, and doctoral programs. I ask everyone to remember the School of Mines, students and alumni, and all Americans who are deployed in Iraq, Afghanistan, and in other troubled parts of the world. We are pleased to have 4 veterans graduating today. Many of these students were deployed during their collegiate tenure and subsequently returned to complete their degrees. Also this morning, 24 members of the graduating class of 1959 have joined us for a celebration of their lifetimes of service that have brought great credit to themselves and to our university. You can find more information about each of our featured guests in the commencement program. While they won't appear on stage, we are also joined today by the families and friends of our graduates. These graduates, I know, would not be here today if you didn't support them emotionally, spiritually, as well as financially during their college careers. Your commitment to helping these students succeed is well known and I know much appreciated. Thank you for all you have done to make today possible. Let's give the family and friends a round of applause. Ms. Melanie Satchel, originally from Pleasantdale, Nebraska, is a candidate for a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary sciences with an emphasis on science, technology, and society. While attending the School of Mines, Ms. Satchel has been directly involved in campus leadership, completing a term as Student Association President, and serving on the School of Mines Presidential Search Committee. She has also been an active advocate for the School of Mines, serving as a student ambassador, testifying before the legislature, and appearing before the Board of Regents. In 2008, Melanie was appointed to the South Dakota Board of Regents as a student regent and is a formal member of the board. In September 2007, Ms. Satchel married Terrence Satchel, who is a candidate for a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. Upon graduation, Melanie will begin with Thrivent Financial for Lutherans in Rapid City as a financial advisor. And Terrence will be commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army as an engineer officer. His first duty assignment is Fort Riley, Kansas.
Thank you, Dr. Warden, and good morning. Family, friends, honored guests, and graduates. Graduation is a time for celebration, excitement, and honor. The given next steps of today and maybe the next week include fellowship and packing up the moments and the memories that we've had for the past 4 or 5 years. But what happens next week? What happens next month? What is waiting for you on the other side of your diploma? Some of you will go to work for top science and engineering institutions and companies. Some of you will go on to graduate school. And some of you will go on to do even greater things than the people sitting behind you or the people here on stage could ever have imagined. But this year is a little bit different than any other year. The market is down, we all know that. Job opportunities are a little harder to find. And parents and graduates are feeling a little bit nervous about what is to come. But I'm here to tell you this morning that you have nothing to fear, because School of Mines has given you and me the tools to achieve greatness in this world. But it is up to us to fulfill our destiny. In my 4 years at Mines, I have learned that opportunities are endless, and only one needs to fear is nothing at all. You just need to stand tall, because we've been prepared. In our graduating class, there are students from all walks of life. There are the 4.0 students, there are the co-op and internship students, and those who have studied abroad. And there's also the single mother that's worked through college. And there's the Guard members that have served during their time here at Mines. And then there's the retirees that come back to get their second degree and start a new career. All of us today have worked hard for what we are about to receive, and we are looking forward to a future of enlightenment. We have been taught, trained, and primed for what lies ahead of us. But the question at hand is not if we are prepared, but rather if we are willing to meet the challenges ahead of us. General George S. Patton, on the night before the invasion of Normandy, rallied the troops of the U.S. Third Army to motivate them before the invasion. Patton told his troops, "The real hero is the man who fights even though he is scared." Today, we're not sending you into Germany to fight the army, but we are sending you out to a world of uncertainty and yet, dare I say, opportunity. Though the Dow is dropped, this is a great occasion to enter the world. Though the U.S. is fighting on several fronts around the world, we still have freedom. Though heart disease and cancer claims thousands of lives every year, there is a cure waiting to be discovered. Though you may not have gotten your first big job with the BMW and the expense account, your future is bright. Warren Buffett once said, "Only when the tide goes out do you find out who is not wearing a bathing suit." We thankfully all have bathing suits, an excellent education from a regionally renowned university. Since we have been prepared and are willing, when the tide goes out, we have a great opportunity. Higher education, studying, doing homework, and extracurricular activities. We've been doing this for several years now and are probably ready to go home and eat cake and be done with it, so I'll keep my comments brief. But we come to celebrate the commencement of our education for now. Today, I will receive my undergrad, while some of you are going on to receive your PhDs. No matter what degree you are earning today, remember that your career in learning is not over. There is much more in the world to be learned, and it is your duty as an informed citizen to take up a career in lifelong learning. Whether you go to get a teaching certificate, take an art class, earn a master's degree, or even go on to law school, whatever you choose to do, you will always be learning and should always search for greater truth. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt said in his inaugural speech, "When there is no vision, the people perish." The search for truth and knowledge is the greatest charge to be given, and it is not to be taken lightly. We are not just tomorrow's leaders, we are today's leaders. We are here to invent tomorrow, today. Thank you, parents, thank you all of the friends for the past few years, for all of your support, and for your lifelong support and love. Thank you to the faculty and to the staff and administration and all those others gathered here today for your work and your inspiration. You truly have prepared our class for the future. Thank you so much. Congratulations, graduates, and good luck to you.
Thank you, Ms. Satchel, for your inspirational words. I now wish to present Dr. Jeffrey Wadsworth, who will give the commencement address. For more than 3 decades, you have assumed increasing levels of professional responsibility, culminating with your current service as President and Chief Executive Officer of Patel, the world's largest nonprofit and development organization. Ever cognizant of these responsibilities, you oversee a company employing 21,000 people. Your exceptional service and leadership has been recognized with 2 honorary degrees, 2 honorary doctorates, and 2 honorary professorships. You have been recognized by the Public Health Service and earned election to the rank of Fellow of 3 technical societies. You are also a member of the National Academy of Engineering. The South Dakota School of Mines and Technology is pleased to recognize your leadership and contributions with the awarding of the degree of Doctorate of Public Service, amicus curiae. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the action of the Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you, Dr. Jeffrey Wadsworth, the honorary degree, Doctor of Public Service, with all the rights, privileges, and honors, as well as the responsibility thereto appertaining.
President Wharton, trustees and distinguished faculty of this great institution, families and friends who have joined us today, and most of all, members of the graduating class. Thank you for inviting me to join you for this great occasion, such an affirming occasion, such a terrific day of celebration. It's a real privilege for me to be part of these ceremonies. I want to congratulate you, President Wharton, on your investiture as President of this great institution. I want to thank the faculty and the Board of Regents for presenting me with this honorary degree. And to every member of the class of 2009, congratulations on your achievements. Now, I've attended many graduation ceremonies, and I have to confess that I remember very little that was said by the commencement speakers. Those include my own addresses. The usual comments on the speeches have much more to do with their length than they do with their content, so I do plan to be relatively brief. From your opening in 1887 with just 20 students in mining, this institution is clearly an important asset for the mining, metals and minerals industry, and nowadays amongst many others. And there are some connections to my own world. I now work for Battelle in Columbus, Ohio, and we were also founded on the mining, metals and minerals industry by Gordon Battelle. The first dean of your school, Franklin R. Carpenter, was a graduate of Ohio University, and Zay Jeffries was a graduate of the South Dakota School of Mines and was one of the outstanding metallurgists of the 20th century. And in fact, my own research in metallurgy relied on his work. He also played a role in the Manhattan Project, which was the point of origin for the national laboratories, and Battelle now runs 6 of those. So the School of Mines has a distinguished history in educating leaders in engineering and science, and is a great asset not only to the state of South Dakota, but also to the nation and to the world. So today I want to do 2 things. I want to spend a few minutes talking about my view of the world you're inheriting, the important global problems that you're going to walk out into. And when I do that for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to give you 5 minutes about some personal decisions that I believe you're going to face because I faced them, and we'll see whether you do, and I'll tell you what I did about them. So first, the global problems. So my view is that throughout history, there are 3 closely interwoven, inextricably interwoven challenges. National security, energy and environment, and human health. And you can't think about one without thinking about the other 2. And I'll give you an example, perhaps. At Battelle, we arrange our businesses around those 3 areas: national security, energy and environment, and human health. And they stay, those areas remain. You can double-click on them, and in history it changes, and you can watch the progression, but those 3 areas are always there. Now, when I graduated from college, and I hesitate to tell you the year, although we have our distinguished alumni behind us who are even more experienced in life, but I graduated in 1972, and the most pressing national security problem for my generation was the Cold War. And for those of you that don't remember the Cold War, your parents certainly will. And there was a rock group called The Who that even wrote a song about it called My Generation. If you listen to it carefully, you'll hear references to it. But in environment, there was no discussion of global warming. And in human health, Nobody knew about AIDS, and nobody worried about pandemic flus and SARS. Now, the Cold War consumed incredible resources and ended when the Soviet Union was dissolved in 1991. And members of my generation believed we defeated the threat of mass destruction through superior education, technology, and economic strength. That threat of mass destruction has now been replaced. The world you inherit is one where words like terrorism, small wars, although I doubt that they're small to the people in them, and nuclear proliferation will be the challenges that you face. The second area is of energy and environment, and quite frankly, this is a challenge that my generation should have done much better to prepare yours for. Global demands for energy are rapidly increasing, with some estimates indicating a doubling of world energy consumption by the year 2050, and the US dependence on external sources of energy is increasingly recognized as a national security challenge. If you don't have energy, then people fight over energy. And concerns about the impact of energy production on the environment, whether it's in global warming or environmental impact, are increasing the focus on clean or green energy. This is linked to the third topic of human health, which is the broad problem as populations rapidly increase and travel becomes increasingly prevalent. And swine flu is just this week's worry in that particular arena. So these three linked challenges will increasingly dominate national and international agendas, as they have throughout history. So I'm going to give you an example from my country. In 18th century Britain wanted to rule the world. It was called the expansion of the British Empire. They needed more iron and steel. So everyone cut down the trees to get the carbon to reduce the iron ore, something you all appreciate. So there were no trees left. This is in the 18th century, and the Crown put out an instruction, you will not cut any more trees down. And in those days, they could hang you, so people had to behave. So people started digging for coal, because coal was in the ground. People knew about it, but it wasn't as economically easy to dig it out. So they started digging mines to get the coal. And of course, the coal is under the water table, so the mines flooded. And so they had to get the water out of the mines, and that necessity drove the invention of the steam engine, which we often think about as being something that pulls other vehicles around, but in fact it was developed to pump water out of mines. Once people could mine, then they started getting black lung. And so human health was impacted, and the research there led to medical advances. So necessity is the mother of invention, and there will be solutions to the problems we have today, and you will be the people who will make them. Now the US has to help by focusing in three different areas: R&D investments, education, and increased awareness of international competition. Now at the laboratories I manage, we've built the most powerful computer in the world. For those of you that play with computers, it's about 2 petaflops, which is a very big number. We built the world's most powerful source of neutrons. We're building the world's most powerful X-rays. And these will study new materials and biological structures, and they will lead to major discoveries. But as I go around the world, which I do a lot, I see international competition stepping up. I'm going to give you 2 or 3 examples very quickly. At Tsinghua University in Beijing, I saw a nanocenter that was just as good as the ones in our country are, and researchers were returning to China from around the world. In fact, they call them haigui, which is sea turtle. They go out to sea, they come back. In the old days, they used to come to the US and remain here, but now they can go home and have just as good quality research available to them. The interesting thing was that this nanoscience center in communist China had been funded not by the government, but by a wealthy businessman from Taiwan, who'd made billions of dollars in electronics. And the business deal he wanted was 50% of the intellectual property coming out of that nanoscience center. In India 2 years ago, I had the good fortune to meet the then President of India in Delhi. His goal is energy independence for his country, and he had a very clear strategy for getting there by investing in solar energy, bioenergy, and nuclear. And he made it very clear to me that he could do it with the United States or he could do it without us, and he'd rather do it with us. I also visited a company called Infosys in Bangalore. This company is worth $26 billion. And in Bangalore alone, they have a campus of 22,000 people. What will be of interest to you is that at my national labs, the average age is 48. On that campus in Bangalore, the average age is 25. So the world is changing quickly, and we all need to stay ahead and be aware of it. So that's what I wanted to tell you about the world. And now I'm going to go to part 2, which is personal challenges. And I'm going to ask you to think about how you're going to answer 3 things. And each of these questions is a conundrum. A conundrum is a question which has no obvious or universally correct answer. So you're not being put on the spot, you see. There's no right answer. But the answer that's right for you may not be right for the person next to you. And the answer that's right for you today may not be the right answer for tomorrow. So you're going to keep coming back to them. And the first question is, where are you going to live? That seems fairly straightforward. But up to the last 100 years or so, most people lived within about 50 miles of where they were born. Now the Dakotas may be an exception because of their pioneer past. And I expect that some of you could tell me that the expansion of the railroads or the discovery of gold in the Black Hills brought your families to the Dakota Territory. In most places, however, the work and opportunities open to people were the result of chance. Moving was difficult. But this is no longer the case. So I spent the first 16 years of my life living all over the world. My father was in the army, and I'm going to quickly tell you the countries I lived in. I was born in Germany, even though I'm English. I lived in Holland. I lived in England. I lived in India. I lived in Singapore. I lived in England again. Then I lived in South Yemen, which used to be called Aden. Then I lived in Berlin, which used to be called West Berlin. And then I came back to England when I was 16. I stayed in England through college, and then I came to the United States for 1 year to do a postdoc at Stanford University in California, and I just never went home. Now, I hasten to add that I am a legal immigrant. And I didn't just decide to stay here, I did visas and became a citizen and so on. And I stayed in the Bay Area for almost 25 years, working at Lockheed, Lawrence Livermore Lab. And 6 years ago, my wife Jerry, who's here with me, she and I went to East Tennessee to serve the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, where I was director. And then 2 years ago, I went back to Columbus, Ohio, to work for Battelle. So clearly, my choice has been to build my lifestyle around my career, to go where the work is. To put it graphically, if you want to play for the Yankees, you probably have to go to New York. Typically, they won't move the club and the stadium to where you want to be. At least Battelle wouldn't. But many families place a very high value on living close to each other or in a place that offers a particular quality of life. And so that's the first interesting decision you're going to have to face. And of course, many communities want their graduates to stay in the communities where they can benefit the communities, and that will provide a challenge to you. The second conundrum is, how important is it to be happy in your job? Now, if you've been living like a typical student, you've heard about BMWs and other perks of the jobs. If you've been living like a typical student for the last few years, you're going to be tempted to assess job opportunities in terms of income. That's perfectly understandable. But working at a job that pays a lot of money but makes you miserable isn't worth it. It isn't worth it. Albert Einstein said something that's helpful in this regard. The most important motive for work, in school and in life, is pleasure in work, pleasure in its result, and the knowledge of the value of the results of a community. That's a terrific quote from one of the great geniuses ever. A more contemporary one, who you may be more familiar with, Steve Jobs, the CEO of Apple, said it well also. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. So find work that gives you pleasure and that you know to be valuable. And I've got a test for this. Here's the test. When you wake up in the morning and you ask yourself, do I want to go to work? And if the answer is no, despite the recession, change your job. Change your job. And here's something that's really important. You're fortunate to be able to change your job because many of your parents and certainly your grandparents didn't have that choice. They were in an economic environment where they had to take the job available and they worked their way through it. But the fantastic education you've received gives you the opportunity to make those choices, and I urge you to do so. Finally, when you decide where you're going to live and what you're going to do, there's a third conundrum, and that is how will you balance what you do for a living with your family and your community? And ours is a workaholic society. Half of us are working more than 40 hours a week. We don't take vacations, or if we do, we check in with our Blackberries every 20 minutes. I have been forbidden to bring mine here. And I'm feeling withdrawal symptoms, because there might just be that ultimately important email that comes in, even on a Saturday. So finding a good balance is not only important to your personal satisfaction, but being part of a strong family and giving back to the community are contributions that will enrich everyone. These three conundrums will be with you throughout your careers, and I urge you to start thinking about them. So I'm finished. I've got one final request of each of you. Please thank your parents, or the mentors, or the family members who helped you. Please thank them. Please thank your teachers. And thirdly, take great pride in what you've accomplished. Many people do not get to this point. You've reached it. Congratulations. Thank you for your patience, and good luck.
We have a diploma as well to present to Dr. Wadsworth from the School of Mines, conferring the degree of Doctor of Public Service. Thank you very much, and thank you for your comments. Fantastic remarks. I hope you enjoyed those as much as I did. The South Dakota School of Mines and Technology operates under the authority of the South Dakota Board of Regents. This morning we are pleased that Regent Balloon is with us to represent the board. Please join me in welcoming again to the podium Regent Balloon.
Thank you, Dr. Warden, Dr. Wadsworth. I have given commencement addresses. I've heard a lot of them. I think your comments will be remembered. Great job. We do 6 of these are going on today, and I've had the fortune to do all of them. This is the closest the graduates are ever to the speaker. I think there's a message in there, for me. There's also a message by authority, so that's why I'm here. So let me just do this, because I looked at the program. I'm all that stands between you and those diplomas, so let's get to those diplomas, all right? So let me just, on behalf of the Board of Regents, say first to you, the students, then to your parents, and then to your friends, our congratulations for a job well done. We are extremely pleased with you. I can tell you, being on the Board of Regents, our highlight is working with the students into the campus, the Federation, the Board of Regents meetings, where the students are right there with us, planning together, taking the challenges together. That really is our payback. It's kind of fun. Some of the best jobs I have in the world are those that don't pay, and they're all volunteer, and that's what it's all about. So with no more ado, let me now do this. And now, by the authority vested in me by the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, I hereby delegate to Dr. Robert A. Wharton the right to confer degrees and diplomas with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Dr. Wharton.
Thank you, Regent Balloon. Dr. Patricia Mann, Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students, will present the Associate of Art degree candidates. Will the candidate for the Associate of Arts degree please rise? By the virtue and authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you the degree Associate of Arts, with all the rights, privileges, and honors, as well as the obligations and responsibilities thereto appertaining.
I shall read the names only of those degree candidates who are present this morning. Those who were unable to attend but whose names are listed in the commencement program will be awarded their diplomas in absentia. We welcome and encourage your applause for each graduate, but we ask that you refrain from using air horns and other noisemakers out of respect for the graduates, their families, and our visitors. As the graduates line up to receive their diplomas, families and guests, you are more than welcome to come to the front and to take pictures as your graduate shakes hands with the president and marches across the stage. Will the candidates for the degree Associate of Arts in General Studies please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Dr. Rod Rice, Chair of the Department of Humanities, and the Dean of College of Science and Letters, Dr. Dwayne Hernser. Tracy Ray Barber, with high honors. Natasha Annette Hoke.
Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Science degrees please rise? By the virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you the degree Bachelor of Science, with all the rights, privileges, and honors, as well as the obligations and responsibilities thereto appertaining.
You may be seated until you're called forward. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Chemistry please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Daniel Hageland, Chair of the Department of Chemistry, and Dean Hernser. William Edward Allen Bailey. Bethany Jo Baker. Blake Allen Campbell, magna cum laude. Jessica May Griffith. Kira Elise Marie Wold, magna cum laude. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Geology please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Mary Beth Price, Chair of the Department of Geology and Geological Engineering, and Dean Hernser. Brent A. Erickson. Nicholas Anthony Famoso, magna cum laude. Sharon Elizabeth Holte, cum laude. Brandon Lauren Marini, magna cum laude. Danielle Ashley Olinger, summa cum laude. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Interdisciplinary Studies please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Joe Lee, Interdisciplinary Sciences Program Coordinator, and Dean Hernser. Christy Bauer. Shannon Nicole Bauer. Amanda Elaine Kumak. Shannon Elise Clary. Valerie Jean Eisenbraun. Angela Lene Glanzer. Jennifer Elizabeth Heichel. Mary Lynn Huber. Ashley Danielle Kaufman. Renee Ann Keppen, magna cum laude. Sean Kearns. Stephanie Lynn Lieber. Elena Nicole Ori. Christopher Allen Rangel. Melanie Joy Satchel. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Applied and Computational Mathematics please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Dr. Kyle Riley, Chair of the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science, and Dean Hernser. Barry James Longden. Ariel Hattie Vano. Will the candidate for the degree Bachelor of Science in Physics please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Dr. Andrei Petrukov, Chair of the Department of Physics, and Dean Hernser. Jason C. Johnson. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Chemical Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Jan Paszynski, Professor in the Department of Chemical and Biological Engineering and Interim Dean of the College of Engineering, Dr. Karen Whitehead. Benjamin Lewis Van Gasser, summa cum laude. Scott Jeffrey Connor. Later today at Mount Rushmore, Scott Connor will be commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. He will serve as an engineer officer in the South Dakota National Guard. Kata Ruth Downs, magna cum laude. Zachary Lewis Tisi, cum laude. Ian Thomas Walters, cum laude. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Henry Mott, Chair of the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering, and Dr. Whitehead. Michael Thomas Barth II, magna cum laude. Russell Joseph Beatty. Brady James Bertram. Joshua Dreher. Darren Scott Elder. Brandon Jiro Fujita. Ryan Frederick Gobb. Sandra Jo Grohm. Charles James Hankins. Austin Harris. Quanah Nicole Higgins. Philip Andrew Knodel, magna cum laude. Julian Lynn Kerner, magna cum laude. Kevin Lowe. Sean Michael McFarland. Terry Morris. Stephen Andrew Perez. Rex Jared Randall. Michelle Lynn Redmond. Benjamin Joseph Sampika. Terrence Lee Satchel. Later today at Mount Rushmore, Terrence will be commissioned as a second lieutenant in the United States Army. He will serve as an engineer officer on active duty and be stationed in Fort Riley, Kansas. Tyler Daniel Seidler. Michelle Marie Stottle, magna cum laude. Bernard Lewis Strecker. Brady Neal Weisner, magna cum laude. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Environmental Engineering please come to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Program Coordinator Dr. Mott and Dr. Whitehead. Ross Andrew Hardy. Daniel Wayne Nispel. Nicole Ann Polson. Laura Renee Porath, magna cum laude. Michael Allen Teets. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Brian Hemmelman, Chair of the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering, and Dr. Whitehead. Charles Anthony Adams. Justin Ray Schmidt, magna cum laude. Andrew Lynn Schultz, magna cum laude. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Hemmelman and Dr. Whitehead. Paxton Biranoff Alsgaard, magna cum laude. Heather Marie Browning. Donald Lee DeGoyer. Amanda Jo Dinstel, cum laude. Nathan Daniel Fisher, magna cum laude. Matthew Edwin Fisher. Brandon Christopher Hammond. Tara Michelle Huber, magna cum laude. Jason K. Kramer. Ryan Frederick Crutch. Logan Allen Blade. Jared Daniel Lucy. Lucas Martin Mansell, cum laude. Jordan Allen Ryer, cum laude. Alexander William Schmidt, summa cum laude. Jessica Lynn Trum. Jarrett Daniel Wendell, in absentia. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Computer Science please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Riley and Dr. Whitehead. Forrest Anthony Balk. Joseph John Bergen. Lucas Michael Jacobs. Joshua Andrew Job. Paul Andrew Kelly. Dan Long. Barry James Longden, cum laude. Stacy Lynn Mann. Lisa Renee Revenich, summa cum laude. Bradley Allen Risky. Brian Lee Schockenheimer. Ariel Hattie Banham. Will the candidate for the degree Bachelor of Science in Geological Engineering please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Price and Dr. Whitehead. Corey Daniel Burkhead. Colton Bentley Clark. Adam Tyler Hoffman, cum laude. Susan Michelle Jones. Kendra Renee Kungu, cum laude. Charles Lampe, cum laude. Daniel Arthur Morgenthau. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Stuart Kellogg, Chair of the Department of Industrial Engineering, and Dr. Whitehead. Patricia Marie Beckering. Ronik Bhushan. Andrew Brucey, cum laude. Aaron Thomas DeCurtins. Ashley K. Johnson. Jody Joe Kaup. Capoli. Myrna Ann Littlewolf. Jared Wayne Martin. Deanna Polacek. James Sidney Pulaski. Douglas Rowntree Winkin. Anthony Marcus Laird Wood. Garrett Bothisis Schmitz. Tom Schmitz. Michelle Lee Voigt. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Michael Langerman, Chair of the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and Dr. Whitehead. Brian James Atnett, magna cum laude. Darren Joseph Bedoin. Matthew Bowen. Andrew James Brosnahan, summa cum laude. Jeffrey Lawrence Comrie. Patrick John Frazier. Michael Dean Brave. Joshua James Hamill, summa cum laude. Cody Kenneth Horner. Brandon Lee Cattermas. Catherine Colleen Kellogg, magna cum laude. Catherine will also be congratulated on stage by her father, Dr. Stuart Kellogg, Chair of the Department of Industrial Engineering. Henry Dale Poole, summa cum laude. Crichton Anthony Robinson, magna cum laude. Matthew Lee Schulte, magna cum laude. Rudy Ryan Smart. Brandon James Smith, magna cum laude. Reed Christopher Sorensen. Nicholas William Volk. Blake Aaron Woodward. Nathan Patrick Zastro, magna cum laude. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Metallurgical Engineering please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Dr. John Keller, Chair of the Department of Materials and Metallurgical Engineering, and Dr. Whitehead. Casey Bergstrom. Travis James Schmidt, cum laude. Will the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Mining Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Mr. Sashi Kant, Chair of the Department of Mining Engineering and Management, and Dr. Whitehead. Tyler John Adler. Stephen Robert Hector. Raymond John Hespen III. Ryan Horton. Michael Ian Kennedy. Christopher Charles McCarrick. Matthew John Sudbeck, magna cum laude. Michael William Wollison. That concludes the presentation of the diplomas to the graduating seniors. Our congratulations and best wishes to the class of 2009.
Will the associate's and bachelor's degree recipients please rise? I offer to you my personal congratulations and the good wishes of the entire School of Mines family. I now give you permission to move the tassel on your mortarboard from right to left. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the School of Mines Associate and Undergraduate Class of 2009. Very good, thank you. You may be seated. Will the candidates for the Master of Science degrees please rise? By the virtue of the authority invested in me by the Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you the degrees specified with all the rights, privileges, and honors, as well as the obligations thereto appertaining, contingent upon the completion of all requirements. Dr. Karen Whitehead, Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, will present the candidates for advanced degrees.
I shall read the names only of those Master of Science degree candidates who are present this morning. Those who were unable to attend but whose names are listed in the commencement program will be awarded diplomas in absentia. Will the candidate for the degree Master of Science in Atmospheric Science please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Mark Helmfeld and Dean of Graduate Education Dr. John Helston. Seth Kenner? No. Darren Reed Clabo. Too many pages here. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science in Chemical Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Department Professor Dr. Prushinsky and Dean Helston. Devin Reed Burke. Kang Dak Vol. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science in Civil Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Mott and Dean Helston. Hannah Marie Albertus. Beth Louise Comas. Aaron Joel Hartwell. Seth Kenner. Seth will be congratulated on stage by his father, Dr. Scott Kenner, professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. Seth is the 8th member of his family and the 3rd generation to graduate from the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. Leah Marie Neal. Senthil Kumar Velaswamy. Alex Paul Toski. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science in Computer Science please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Riley and Dean Helston. Joseph Aaron Atkins. Tyler Haugen. Joseph Lee Williams. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science in Electrical Engineering please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Hamelman and Dean Helston. Robert Philip Denon. Akhlada Reddy Ibul. Mahati Serepali. Niraj Kumar Ravilala. Will the candidate for the degree Master of Science in Geology and Geological Engineering please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Price and Dean Helston. Pradeep Kumar Chintalapati. Will the candidate for the degree Master of Science in Materials Engineering and Science please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Keller and Dean Helston. Dayanand Chari Pidicheti. Will the candidate for the degree Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering please come forward to receive your diploma and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Langerman and Dean Helston. Aswini Kumar Mutnyam. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science in Paleontology please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Department Chair Dr. Price and Dean Helston. Wai Bin Hu. Matthew John Sauter. Will the candidates for the degree Master of Science in Technology Management please come forward to receive your diplomas and be congratulated by Dr. Stuart Kellogg, Technology Management Program Coordinator, and Dean Helston. Marlena Luella Frisley Dorenbos. Jake Ellen Elsass. Melissa Margaret Skelton. Erin Lee Vonneman Schmidt.
Will the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, I hereby confer upon you the degree specified with all the rights, privileges, and honors, as well as the obligations and responsibilities thereto appertaining.
Will Adrian Edward Verwolf, candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Atmospheric and Environmental Sciences, please come forward? Dr. Andrew Detweiler, Major Professor, and Dean Helston will assist in the hooding ceremony.
I now present Dr. Adrian Berwolf.
Will Bharat Kumar Jathi, candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Materials Engineering and Science, please come forward. Dr. Stan Howard, Major Professor for Jathi, and Dean Helston will assist in the hooding ceremony.
Present Dr. Bharat Justi. Each year is a privilege to recognize the 50-year graduates whose lifetime of outstanding achievements have established a reputation for educational excellence that is the proud tradition of the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology. 168 graduates were honored in May of 1959. Of the 140 surviving members of the class of 59, we are privileged to have 24 of you here today.
As your name is called, please step forward to receive your certificate from Dr. Warden and be congratulated by Alumni Association Executive Vice President and past Alumni President, Dr. Paul Gnurk. After you receive your certificate, you may return to your seat. Ready, Jim? Okay. Yeah, you have to do dual duty today.
Doing good.
Yeah. Dale Allen, Civil Engineering. Barry Bradshaw, Chemical Engineering. L.F. Skip Bush, Civil Engineering. William Coddington, General Engineering. Pearl Eschen, Metallurgical Engineering. Terrence Finkner, Chemical Engineering. Virgil Freibel, Metallurgical Engineering. Paul Gnurk, Mining Engineering. David Groh, Electrical Engineering. Robert Howe, Metallurgical Engineering. Bruce Johnson, Civil Engineering. Emmett Cutterbach, Civil Engineering. Harold Lundberg, Mining Engineering. Richard Mackey, metallurgical engineering. David Malthouse, general engineering. Jan Matusek, metallurgical engineering. Wayne McCullum, civil engineering. Lyle Monsey, electrical engineering. Seated among our honored guests, Lyle Mudge, chemical engineering. William Richardson, mechanical engineering. David Riesland, electrical engineering. John Shoemaker, civil engineering. Edward Tegland, geological engineering. Bert Thompson, geological engineering. Ren Whitaker, chemical engineering. Jerome Zimmerman, general engineering.
Congratulations, gentlemen. We thank you for joining us today. May the success you have enjoyed in your lives and career be an inspiration for all of us. At this time, I would like to call Dr. Paul Gnurk to the podium to introduce this year's recipient of the Guy E. March Medal. Dr. Gnurk is the Executive Vice President of the Alumni Association and a past recipient of the March Medal. Dr. Gnurk.
Thank you, Dr. Wharton. That's very kind of you. I would like to remark that back in 1959, when we graduated, the ceremony was held on the football field at O'Hara Stadium in a nice, warm day in May. It was a super time. And I think that may have been the only time that graduation, at least in recent memory, was held at the football stadium. Now down to business. The Guy March Silver Medal was established in 1975 to honor the memory and in remembrance of Professor Guy March and Professor Guy March's contribution to this institution, to the School of Mines, to its faculty, to its staff, and to its alumni. Each year, we select one of our alumnus to receive the March Medal. That alumnus must have the same attributes as Professor March in regard to faculty, staff, the institution, and alumni. This year, our recipient is Mr. Kenneth May, and would Mr. Kenneth May please come forward to the podium. I want to say a few words. You have an extensive write-up about Ken May in your program, and I want to say a few words about that anyway. Ken May graduated from Rapid City High School. That was when there was only one high school in Rapid City, as he reminded me the other day. And he entered the South Coast School of Mines and Technology and graduated in 1961 with a degree in civil engineering. In October of that year, Ken was drafted into the United States Army. Subsequently, he went to Officer Kennedy School and received his commission as a second lieutenant and joined the U.S. Army Intelligence Corps, where he rose to the rank of captain in a period of approximately 9 years. He also became fluent, studied German, Czechoslovakian. He was stationed in Western Europe and in the Vietnam Theater. After 9 years, he resigned his commission, returned to Rapid City, and went to work for a number of companies, including Brink Construction, Dakota Steel, and some of the banking operations in the city. Over that period of time, and all these past years, Ken has been very much involved with the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology, its alumni, students, and so forth. Twice he served as our president of the Alumni Association. He was a co-chair of the 2000 annual reunion for this institution. In 2001, he was a member of a committee that was set, alumni committee that was set up and approved by President Gowan at that time to evaluate the mining engineering program and its future. As a consequence of that evaluation by Mr. May and his associates, the mining engineering program was restructured into the mining engineering and management program and subsequently funded by many of the constituent companies that support that engineering program. Over the years, he was also treasurer. 7 years served as treasurer of the Alumni Association. He was involved in the transfer of approximately $1 million from the Endowment Association to the School of Mines Foundation when it was created in the late 70s. He's also been involved with Triangle Fraternity, with many of the functions on campus. In fact, Nancy, his wife, and him and their children, when they were growing up, attended many, many functions at the college. He's a true soldier for our institution. Two of the items I'd like to mention in closing. Ken May was a personal friend of Professor Guy March. Secondly, I'd like to point out that over the past 10 years, he served very strongly and with many hours in the hospice program in Rapid City for many people in their passing moments. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me recognize the Guy March Medal recipient for 2008, Ken May.
I have to say a few words. That's the nicest thing Paul Merck has ever said about me. I'll tell you that right. I am especially honored and humbled to follow my friend Jerry Brown in receiving this award. He received it last year. We are a couple guys of the few left who knew and worked for Pop March. I say Pop because anyone who went to the School of Mines was one of his kids. We all called him Pop. And you are all kids of Guy March, whether you know it or not. You know, I relate to Bill Cosby, who said, I used to think this award thing was a bunch of crap. Then I got one and I changed my mind. You're thinking right now, geez, I have to sit here and listen to some guy named May getting some award recognizing a guy named March, neither one who I know from a bale of hay. Well, I just am obligated to tell you a little bit about Guy March. He was Mr. Alumni. Most of the activities of the Alumni Association were initiated by Guy. Let me be the first one to welcome you as alumni back to the next 5-year reunion, which is next year. 5-year reunions at the School of Mines are classic, and they were started by Pop. One of the few things that I remember from all the commencement addresses that I've listened to over the years is the acronym HELP. Now, H stands for hell. Remember to raise hell. Not in a negative way, but in a positive way, a helpful way, a fun way. Guy knew how to have fun. Guy and Gail were always one of the last couples to leave any party. 1, 2 in the morning, didn't make any difference. E is to ask yourself, is what you're doing ethical? L, is it legal? They're not the same thing. And P, does it make a profit? And not in terms of dollars. You can profit intellectually, spiritually, a lot of ways. HELP, not a bad acronym. But I'll tell you what, Guy March didn't need any acronyms. He oozed trust, truth, dependability. I have a quick story you might relate to. My friend and classmate George needed to pass the thermal final to graduate, and he flunked. He went to Stensis, who was the thermodynamics professor at that time, and pleaded. He says, I have to graduate. I've got a job. I'm getting married the day after commencement. I promise to you, I swear, I will never design anything. I'm going into sales. Well, you know, Stentz checked George out and he was telling the truth. In fact, the girl he was going to marry was Guy March's secretary. And so Pop became involved in what was then the big decision of what was the school going to do. Well, it was determined with the critical input of Guy March that George should graduate. He would be a credit to the School of Mines. George kept his promise. He didn't design anything, but he did go on to become a very, very successful businessman. And he's still married to Pop's secretary. Pop had diabetes as a medical affliction, but you never thought of him having a disability. His eyesight diminished in his later years, and when he got that white cane, it didn't affect his capabilities in the least. If anything, it gave him more power that he used but never abused. Enough of this, I've gone on. Guy March would ask you to keep SDMT, the Alumni Association, and the relationships you have made here and your thoughts throughout the years. Tech has done much more for you than you realize. And these old guys in the gold robes behind me will testify to that. It gave us Guy March. So just as the Mines has done more for you than you realize, this award right here means more to me than you realize. Thank you all very much, and thank you, Pop.
Thank you, Ken, for those wonderful comments. Congratulations. I'd like to give a special thank you now to the School of Mines Symphonic Band, which is directed by David Mitchell. Let's give them a big round of applause. Thank you also to the members of the Commencement Committee and the staff of University and Public Relations, as well as my staff in the President's Office and the Provost's Office. As many of you can imagine, putting on an event like this is a lot of work. And, thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, I want you to know that there will be an opportunity to take family photographs in the rear of the auditorium, which I think is right over here, if I'm not mistaken, after the ceremony. I invite you to join me one more time in congratulating our class of 2009. I would ask everyone to stand, please, and remain standing until the colors have been retired. And then please remain in place until the academic recessional has been completed. Thank you all very much for joining us today. Will the ROTC Color Guard please retire the colors?